Hi, I'm Loren and my company is Intentional Acting. And I'm hired by working actors whose self-tapes seem to keep getting passed over and they don't know why. And what they want now is to book work and build their reputation of being an in-demand actor. So one of the techniques I'm going to teach you today will help you with that, which is how to put action scenes on tape for a self-tape. A self-tape that's going to book jobs. I just had an actor a month or so ago. It was for a German television show. He played, he booked it off his self-tape. It was a taxi driver in a car chase. So how do you create that as a self-tape? That's what I'm going to help you with. And I don't have that script, but I have a scene and a script from Blacklist and from the second episode, from the second season, episode 2. So let me share that. I'm going to share that script with you. It's public, so I think we're pretty good here. And the first things that I want you to think about is get up and read the script out loud, okay? Stand up, like I'm standing at a stand-up desk, but stand up, read it out loud. And if you can do it with a friend, even better, okay? Because just something happens when we're speaking it out loud that we hear and see more information that we don't always get when we're just kind of reading it in our own little head and sitting in a chair and curled up on the couch, right? So I read everything on the script. I'm going to probably move through some of this, but read every word on the script, starting with the Blacklist 202, which means season 2, episode 2. Monarch Trust, that's the title of the show, right? And this is back in 2014. And then we read wrestler, and we even read this scene, okay? Okay, good. Now, Marie, this is really gonna hurt. You're not going to, this is only gonna take a second, but he pushes the applicator into a wound channel, pushes it in the tampon. Marie screams through clenched teeth. Alarmed, the driver slides open the plexi partition, separating him from the back seat. What you do? I need duct tape. She points at a strip of silver duct tape covering a tear in the seat back. For seat tape. You rip my seats? He discards the bloody applicator and yanks the filthy strip of duct tape from the seat, tears it in half with his teeth, and binds the improvised dressing. Before the driver can react, Liz points out the windshield. Look out! Traffic has come to a complete stop. The driver hammers the brakes, throwing them forward in the seat. Marie moans, ready to pass out. A half block ahead, flashing red lights, a police barricade. Salerno and his team inspect and clear taxis as traffic, slowly creeps forward. Exterior Warsaw Street, continuous, guns ready, alert. Salerno and his team approach our driver. He opens the rear door, sees blood pooled in the back seat. Salerno brandishes his pistol at the driver and snarls. Where'd they go? Nods, points behind him. They get out back there, run down that side near shops. Salerno gestures for his men to fan out. Okay, so we've looked at this script now. The directions are there. They're telling you what to do. Okay, first of all, if we look at the top of the script, you're auditioning for a driver. I can't tell you how many people they're like, what am I auditioning for? I'm like, you're auditioning for drivers right there at the top. And some of you probably think that's fundamental, but I can't tell you how many people don't. They don't tell you start and end here, but the arrow there shows you where to start. But it's important to have a moment before in your self-tape, because what are you doing that moment before that scene starts so that whoever's watching you it pulls you in. It pulls you in as the actor and gets you focused, but it also pulls in the person watching. When you see somebody doing something really specific, you go, what are they doing? So, and this is tricky, right? This one's tricky because it's a driving. Do we do this? You know, nobody really wants to see this. What we have to have, rather than showing us the action of the scene, you want to create the experience of it. So there's something so the experience of this is, we know that the driver, let's start with the relationship. We have the driver and we have wrestler and Marie. So this is a taxi driver. We know we're in Warsaw or in Poland. And so that's going to be important with the accent. What you do, I need duct tape. It specifically says Polish accent. So You want to probably investigate a Polish accent. You also want to make sure you say what you do and what are you doing, okay? Big difference on how that's going to make your tape undeniable and help you book that job. So that's the first piece of instructions, right, that are right there on the script, is accent and where it takes place. Next thing, so it shows us where to start. Alarmed, the driver slides open the plexi partition separating. So something's going on. Imagine driving a car. Maybe you're an Uber driver. If we use that idea, this is how I can relate to it. And there's somebody, I'm not an Uber driver, but that's how I would relate to it. There's somebody in the back. There's people in the back seat and they're doing something. And I just picked up people and I'm taking them I'm giving them a ride, you know, to make money. And there's something weird going on back there. And then I hear a scream. Marie screams through clenched teeth. Alarmed, what's going on in the back of my car? The driver slides open the plexi partition separating them from the back seat. So whether you slide that or not, you can, or if you don't, if you can make it part of the experience. What's the experience of, like, what's going on in my car? I'm also driving. You have to keep those two things going. That's the action, that this car is moving and something's going on in your back seat of your car. You're going, and then you notice what you do because you notice somebody doing something in the back seat. Like, what's going on? I need duct tape. Tape. She points at the strip of silver duct tape covering a tear in the back seat for seats. Tape. And then he's like, you ripped my seats? Upset. That's upset. So, and it's underlined too. So that's directions. They're telling you what they're looking for. You ripped my seats? Don't just play upset, but what's the experience of your car? And you're driving your car. I mean, I would freak out. My son knows that. I would be like, what did you do to my car? What's in my car? Like, what is the experience of that versus just being upset? What's the experience of somebody bleeding in your car, screaming in your car, ripping your car seats? I'd be like, and you're driving. And you're like, I just want to pull over, but we don't for some silly reason. So it's dealing with driving and looking at the back of your car seat. And then it says he discards the bloody applicator, which is going to be wrestler, yanks the filthy street. Before we can, that part's not going to happen. We don't need to show any of that or see it. We can just experience that we're watching that. But then the next directions are, before the driver can react, Liz points out to the windshield, look out, underline, traffic, all caps, has come to a complete stop. That means you can't just keep driving. That means you got to stop too. The car has to stop. The driver hammers the brakes. What's the experience of throwing on the brakes and everybody in the car? What does that do to your breath? What does that do to you when you're like, oh my God, I just stopped from maybe, and in my mind, I'm going to put in front of me maybe a mother with her stroller and her baby, because then I have a story and I'm like, oh my God, I almost just killed a baby. Right? Marie Mons ready to pass out. I don't need all of that. But the next thing that happened, because that's not mine to play, but the next thing that happens is I've just saved from a car accident. I just didn't hit somebody. And then all of a sudden, guns, we're at the next scene, guns ready alert. Salerno, and it says, brandishes his pistol at the driver. Brandishes his pistol. So that means all of a sudden, there's a gun to my head. So I need to play that. Now, some people might say, well, these are two different scenes. Do I shoot them as two different scenes? I say no, because look at this. If we go back and look at it, basically, this is your start. And then it says continue, and then continue here and there. When they want two scenes, then they'll mark it start, end, start, end. This is not marked this way. This is written as continuous. I would make it one take. And how do you tell that whole story in that one take? So it might be a thing. And then I would imagine that police officer is sticking his, maybe my window's open for whatever reason, is sticking his gun through my window at me. And then it says, pistol at the driver. So you've got to see a pistol to your driver. It says nods, points behind him. back there. They get out back there, run down that side near shops. So there, we've just gone through the directions. We've read the directions out loud, and it's telling you what to do. That's literally the most important thing you can do. Not only reading the directions that are on the script, but reading the directions on your breakdown that tell you how they want to shoot that. Another thing is to do the research on the show. So if you've watched Blacklist, what is that framing? How tight is it? And that would be different for every single show. What's the style? What's the feel? Because, an HBO show is going to be different than I think this is CBS, than a CBS show. The feel, the tone of it, right? And so, yeah, you're not doing this showing me that you're driving, but what's the experience of having your hands on the wheel and driving? And you've got to be watching. It's the tension. It's the tension of that you are of two things, of that you're driving and that you're seeing this thing go on behind there. It's the tension that also is going to drive the action of the scene. Okay. And so then, and maybe even in the framing, I might even frame myself just a little over to one side, like I'm driving in the car. Just frame it, just to suggest it. And just to suggest the costume of a taxi, like don't be in a costume. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to use that word, but to suggest that you're a taxi driver. So all of those things, now you have that structure, you have the directions. Now you can bring your personal experience to that. So putting action on a self-tape is reading the directions, making sure you're telling that story, creating the experience of the action versus showing me, creating the experience, feeling that energy. One other little trick that I love is that you can just pant. Let's say you want something that has a feeling of that energy and that action and the scene's moving fast and lots going on. Just pant a little before you start. First of all, it can really give you anxiety. So be careful about that. But something shifts, doesn't it? And something shifts for me, and then go into the scene. So I hope that's a bunch of technique tips that are really going to help make your next action scene that you put on tape work for you and help you book a job, just like my student Ben did. Wishing you all the very best. Please comment. Let me know how I can help you.